Yasu Malaka. Welcome to the Malaka podcast. Tony Danza. There's a time for love and a time for living. Take a chance and face the wind. Open road and a road that's hidden. Brand new life around the bend. There were times I lost a dream or two. Found a trail. And at the end was you. There's a path you take and a path not taken. Choice is up to you, my friend. The nights are long, but you're wide awake to a brand new life. Brand new life. Brand new life around the bend. Angela, Samantha, Jonathan, Mona, Ayo. All right. Yo, Angela, I'm going on a chopper. And scene. I got that in one take. Nice. First of all, I'd just like to apologize for getting out my childhood. I've been dying to do that for years. Hopefully I'm not going to do the whole Tony Danza voice, Tony Maselli voice anytime again this podcast. Again, I do not promise that, but let's just see what happens. But as you can clearly see, the one and only Tony Danza always meant a lot to me growing up. I lived very close to all of my schools, which led to me graduating very late in high school because I skipped a lot. But it was also great because I would always get to come home and see either my mom or my dad and just enjoy a great big bowl of pasta and, just chill and, keep it very Italian, as you could see. And, I was able to watch the Flintstones at 12 and 12:30. Then all of a sudden they stopped airing the Flintstones. And I said to myself, I need a new show. What's going to fill this pasta Italian void in this crazy child's life? So, of course, I didn't get the internet until Napster came along. And back then we would still watch TV. No YouTube, no Instagram. And I was like, you know what? I found it. Who's the Boss? And I started watching Who's the Boss. And Tony Danza was just always a really cool dude. I mean, he was great on the show, don't get me wrong, but he pretty much was almost the same guy in real life. Okay, he wasn't a housekeeper, but at the same time, he was just a very nice guy. And if you guys don't mind, ladies and gentlemen, and fellow Who's the Boss fans out there, I would love to do a podcast on the one and only Tony Danza. So with the help of Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia, let's get this started. See, I could have said let's get this shit started, but Tony Maselli would not approve of that. He always kept it clean on the show. Very energetic male. Always. I was always just envious of a guy who could just literally clean up a whole house all day in Connecticut and just still have this much energy. But I digress. Here we go. Tony Danza, born Anthony Salvatore La Danza, which, by the way, I'd just like to say, one of the questions often asked on Google is Tony Danza Italian? After saying this 3-word name, if you can't figure that out for yourself, then yeah. April 21st, 1951, he was born, is an American actor, television personality, tap dancer, boxer, and teacher who starred on the TV series Taxi and Who's the Boss, for which he was nominated for an Emmy Award and 4 Golden Globe Awards. In 1998, Danza won the People's Choice Award for Favorite Male Performer in a new television series for his work on the 1997 sitcom The Tony Danza Show, not to be confused with his 2004 to 2006 daytime variety talk show of the same name. He has also appeared in films such as Don John, Angels in the Outfield, The Hollywood Knights, Going Ape, and Crash. So there you go. He's had a hell of a career. I mean, he's been doing this since what? The late 70s. So what do we got? We got 1 decade, 2, 3, 4, 5. A very long time he's been doing this, And the guy is 70 years old. And I'm pretty sure he's going to outlive all of us. I got to start doing some sit-ups and some crunches, or just find out what those things are. And, he's been able to have a very long life in this business. Movies, TV shows, I'm not a big tap dancer myself. I've tried it a couple times, when that whole Lord of the Dance craze happened, I don't know. I heard back in the day kids would put bottle caps. For those of you holding an iPhone right now, I'll tell you what a bottle cap is later. And they would put it at the bottom of their shoes, and it would make them, tap dance. Because everybody back in the day wanted to be Fred Astaire. Again, if you're holding an iPhone, I'll explain what Fred Astaire is later. But yes, the guy could do it all. And on top of that, he was a teacher for a while. We'll get into that in a little bit. I mean, even on the show, actually, no, I'm gonna be honest. I sort of remembered this. I remember, like, in the opening credits, like, he would, in one of the seasons, he was holding a book, and it looked like he was walking through a university. And you know how it is, with living with European parents. You want to save money on haircuts, and like my dad would always fix me up in the back there. This is when I had hair 5 years ago, and we were just talking about Tony Danza, and because that's what Europeans do. No, I just saw Don John, and again, we'll get into that in a little bit. He was great in that, and my dad was like, yeah, I remember him being on Who's the Boss, and he was a teacher, and it was inspiring. And I was like, fuck, I don't even remember him being. I remember him being like a housekeeper. I remember teaching people how to clean, the curtains with a vacuum, which, by the way, actually works. I've actually done that before, and if you don't have a dustbuster, it gets a little awkward, but it does the trick. And so, we were able to bond on that. And but my point is, like, he's been doing this for so long that he's inspired different generations, and he's such a nice guy. I mean, do you ever hear anything bad about Tony Danza? I don't. And let's be honest, you don't either. Danza was born in Brooklyn, New York, to parents Ann Camissa and Maddie Anthony LaDanza. His mother was a bookkeeper. Let me explain what a bookkeeper. See, now again, this is awesome. Now, a bookkeeper, okay, from what I understand. Okay. Now, again, I've heard different things, but I've learned a lot from from what I hear from other Italians. A bookkeeper is someone who keeps records for people that do illegal betting. Now, this is how old school this family was. I mean, you got to keep in mind, guys, like back in the day, you had to do what you had to do to make money. I mean, if anybody's ever seen the movie A Bronx Tale, okay? I mean, Robert De Niro was a very hardworking bus driver in that, but a lot of other people, like his kid was introduced, does a lot of, side hustle stuff, bookkeeping, side bets, and or just like he didn't do it, but like helped out the mob and all that, and if there was one, I personally don't think there is a mafia. Let's just. So the point is, you got to be, a strong woman to do that. And it also says here, his father worked as a waste collector in Brooklyn. So again, very hard job. You make good money doing that. I mean, well, I mean, it's not like today where they take care of you, in other ways, and I mean, again, I don't want to get too involved in this. You guys know how Brooklyn was back in the day. Okay, it's not gentrified like it is now. It's it was different back then. So both these people, I'm sure, had to work their asses off. It also says here, Danza's father was an Italian ancestry, no shit, and Danza's mother was an immigrant from the town of Campobello di Mazzara. Now, you see how I pronounce that because I don't want to fuck that up. In the Sicilian province of Trapani. Okay? Again, no surprises here. Again, guys, if you couldn't figure out Tony Danza was Italian throughout the whole, throughout his career and the way he talks and his hair, I got nothing for you. He has a younger brother, Matty Jr., a Los Angeles restaurant owner. Guys, again, more proof that all the Italian clues are there. It's pretty obvious. I'm sure someone else in his family works construction. He lived in East New York, Brooklyn, until he was 14, and his family relocated to Malvern, New York, on Long Island. Danza attended Malvern Senior High School, graduating in 1969. In the first episode of his show, Teach Tony Danza, Danza described himself as a bad student in high school. He earned a bachelor's degree in history in 1972 from the University of Dubuque. I think I said that right. Yeah, okay. Which he attended on a wrestling scholarship. In 1975, as a joke, Danza's friends entered him in the New York City Golden Gloves. After knocking out his first 6 opponents, all in the first round, Danza was knocked out in the finals. So again, guys, he was a boxer, all right? Tough motherfucker. Again, I'm very sorry for saying Dubuque. Yeah. Mr. Danza, please don't kick my ass. The point is, tough dude, tough family. There you go. Brooklyn. Those were. I'm assuming those were the days. I'm Canadian. I've heard the stories. During his first year of college, he had the Robert Crumb "Keep on Truckin'" character tattooed on his upper right arm. In 1985 interview in US Weekly magazine, Danza remarked, "I was playing pool with a guy who had all these tattoos, and I wanted to be friends." Danza also sports a "Keep Punching" boxing gloves tattoo on his right shoulder, as well as Tracy, his former wife's name, on his chest. In college, Danza met and married his first wife. There you go. So if you watch Who's the Boss, that tattoo that he has on his arm, obviously it's real. So again, don't fuck with him, guys. I mean, again, he's 70, but I'm telling you, he could beat the shit out of anybody. I'm telling you, it's just, you saw in the opening credits there in the one Who's the Boss thing, he's, hitting the thing that goes back and forth there in the I forgot what it's called. Again, I'm sorry. But, the point is, he's gonna kick some ass, man. He also knew Tupac for a little bit. I'm going to get into that story in a little bit, don't worry. Danza was a professional boxer with a record of 9-3 wins and losses, 9 knockouts, 7 in the first round, with all but one of his fights ending in a knockout, including 3 technical knockouts. So, obviously his friends knew he could kick some ass, literally just threw him in the ring that one time. Some people are just born to box, man. I mean, it is what it is. Obviously, you learn all the tricks along the way, but But this wasn't all he could do. I mean, he did the whole acting and show business thing eventually. So it says here, shortly after his college graduation from University of, you're going to make me try to say this again, Dubuque. There you go. Danza was discovered by a producer at a boxing gymnasium in New York. He then earned a spot on the television show Taxi, playing a cab driver and part-time boxer, Tony Banta, and later starred on Who's the Boss, in which he portrayed Tony Maselli, a former baseball player, housekeeper, and single father. For his contribution to the television industry, in 1988, Danza was honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame at 7000 Hollywood Boulevard. Danza also played the role of Mel Clark, a baseball player, in Angels in the Outfield. Danza also starred in the short-lived sitcoms Hudson Street and The Tony Danza Show. Not to be confused, we got it. He had a role in the TV drama Family Law from 2000 until 2002. He was nominated for an Emmy Award for guest starring 1998 role in the TV series The Practice. His movie debut was in the comedy The Hollywood Knights, which was followed by Going Ape. He received critical acclaim for his performance in the 1999 Broadway revival of the Eugene O'Neill play The Iceman Cometh. In 2002, yeah, you like the way you say. Sorry, when I said that, I was like, I remember when Arnold Schwarzenegger said it in Batman and Robin. I was gonna go for it, but I changed my mind there. I don't know. Keep it classy. Danza released his debut album, The House I Live In, as a 1950s style crooner. Oh shit, I didn't read that. Okay, so the guy's a singer, TV, movie, and he can beat the shit out of you. Okay. Damn. Danza hosted his own TV show, The Tony Danza Show, that was produced each weekday morning in his hometown of New York and was syndicated across the U.S. On May 9, 2005, during a go-kart race with NASCAR star Rusty Wallace, who was a guest star on the show, Danza's kart flipped after Wallace accidentally bumped into him. Oh, shit. Neither he nor Wallace was wearing a helmet at the time. Come on, guys. You know better than that. I mean, Tony Maselli would have wore a helmet. And both were injured. Danza returned to go-kart racing on October 20th, 2005 to challenge IndyCar driver Diana Patrick. With his brakes malfunctioned and he skidded into a wall, unharmed. His daytime talk show ended in May 2006. The last live episode aired on May 26, 2006. He starred on Broadway as Max Bialy Stock. Yeah. In producers from December 19th, 2006 to March 11, 2007. And reprised his role as the Paris Las Vegas from August 13th, 2007 to February 9th, 2008. Danza hosted the fourth season of The Contender in 2008. We're definitely going to get more into that in a little bit. A Broadview adaptation of the 1992 film Honeymoon in Vegas opened on a pre-Broadway run at New Jersey's Paper Mill Playhouse on September 26, 2013, co-starring Danza and Tony nominee Rob McClure, with Gary Griffin directing. Danza was inducted into the Ride of Fame in December 2014, and the double-decker sightseeing bus commemorative his role in the Broadway musical. Danza starred as Tony Caruso Sr. in the 2018 Netflix series The Good Cop as a disgraced former NYPD officer who never followed the rules. It was canceled after one season. As you can see, like I said, he's done so much. Like, I didn't even know about the whole, acting on Broadway stuff. I mean, the guy's literally done it all. And what's even cooler is, like, he basically does all this stuff in his backyard, in his hometown, New York, I mean, that's really lucky. Like, honestly, like, if you're an actor, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, you're either going to go cross seas, you're going to... It's just very rarely you have the chance to do a lot of things close to home. I mean, I'm assuming he did a lot of this on purpose, to stay close to home and close to his roots. But, I mean, Not a lot of actors have that privilege to do that, so that's pretty cool. It says here, teaching during the 2009-2010 school year, Danza filmed A&E reality show Teach, Tony Danza, in which he co-instructed a 10th grade English class at Northeast High School in Philadelphia. It premiered on October 1st, 2010. The book, I'd like to apologize to every teacher I ever had. My year as a rookie teacher at Northeast High, which was released in 2012, was based on his year of teaching. So Dad, not only was he a student going back to school in Who's the Boss, but it actually inspired him to actually become a teacher. So again, with I'm losing track here, guys. TV, movies, teacher, Broadway actor, singer. Is there anything this guy can't do? It says here, in 2008, Danza and his son Mark co-authored a cookbook. Of course he can cook. Don't fill up on the antipasto. Tony Danza's father-son cookbook. Aw, that's sweet. See, there you go. I mean, and the guy can cook too. Of course he can cook. He's fucking Italian. If you haven't figured that out by now. And it also says here, Danza's first marriage to Rhonda Yeoman. They wedded, I don't know why they put it like that, in 1970 and divorced in 1974. Their son Mark appeared with Tony on Taxi in 2 episodes as Brian Sims. In 1986, Danza married Tracy Robinson. The couple separated in 2006 and filed for divorce on March 10, 2011. The divorce was finalized on February 6, 2013. They have 2 daughters. You know what? Okay, so he's not perfect in the love life, okay? Who is, guys? Okay, but he's literally killed it in everything else. Holy shit. I mean, just really think to yourself, guys. I mean, you're on one successful show, and then right after you're on another successful show. And this show's yours. I mean, this has lasted for what, like 8 seasons? What an awesome career. And of course, again, like I said before, the marriages maybe didn't work out, but was Tony Danza able to get women after that, or whatever? Fuck yeah, he was. I found this interview on Howard Stern. He did. He's talking about Andy Kaufman and working with him on Taxi. Of course, Andy Kaufman was a big handful. We all know that. But of course, Howard Stern, being the great interviewer he was, he even dug deeper on why. He met Andy Kaufman in the hospital, and to be honest with you, I would absolutely love to tell this story, but you know what? I'm going to let Tony Danza tell it himself.
Oh, you know what happened? I happened to be in a hospital. I had a long story. Anyway, so...
what was wrong with you? I had a penis enlargement.
Yeah, that's...
No, what did you have? What was wrong with you?
I had a little,
coke problem?
No.
Not that kind of hospital.
Sex change what?
I had a little bit of an infection.
What, STD?
No, I actually had an overuse...
And broke your penis.
It's called seminal vesicleitis, for anybody who knows.
You were having too much sex.
A long story short. I make a long story short anyway, so
No, hold it. Seminal vesicleitis.
Vesicleitis?
Vesicleitis.
Something to do with the penis, seminal.
They're the
capillaries.
They're actually the vessels that bring the semen to, and anyway, I don't believe I'm having this conversation.
Was it from overuse?
It was from overuse.
Seriously?
Well, that's what I...
Now, was that with a person, or were you by yourself?
I think it was with broad. I want to say both, but leave it up for me.
So, I mean, at that time, at
I was
Taxi,
young and I was
you were young and you were
around,
famous.
And I had a thing. So anyway,
you got tons of hot chicks, is what you're saying. And you were banging 2-3 a day?
It was a good time in LA. It was before AIDS.
Right.
It was a different...
You could use women and step all over them and have tons of sex. My kind of...
And totally get away with it.
Get away with it.
Yeah,
It's a great time in our life.
Well, we call it the good old days.
The good old days.
Anyway, but anyway...
So you had so much sex.
No, let's
your penis... Wait, I gotta clear this up.
Already.
Your penis You could not even bring the seam. It was exhausted.
Your lifeboats were broken.
What, did your vesicles collapse?
Just,
So then what did the doctor say? Did you stop having so much sex?
I just gave me an antibiotic. I was
Or
in
they
hospital
put
for
you
a
in
couple
the
days, and I was
hospital.
fine. Yeah.
How many
Well,
times-
because they didn't know what it was at first. They thought, oh, I got a problem.
How many times?
This guy's
What, did it hurt when you peed?
No,
What, it hurt when you ejaculated?
yeah, it's wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
like,
Now that's
hey.
using it too much.
Hey, look at you, wait a second.
Oh. Ladies and gentlemen, I really tried so hard to hold my laughter there. By the way, I know this is an audio podcast, but I was actually standing while clapping, so that's what we call a standing ovation. The point is, I mean, he was having a great time, and you know, like again, like Tony Danza, like he's such a nice guy. Like obviously, like he doesn't want it out there, like you know, he's having sex with all these women, but. Again, Howard Stern is such a great interviewer, and you know it's rare that I mean, we figured this was happening, but I mean, like Howard's is just a fucking genius, and good for Mr. Danza, well deserved, well deserved, my friend. Now, a lot of people would consider that, most guys would consider that the holy grail of becoming an actor. But one of the coolest things about becoming an actor is, you get a little power. And like I mentioned before, he ended up becoming friends with Tupac Shakur. Now, I mean, do I really have to mention who Tupac Shakur is? I mean, and I just want to say this on behalf of, white and black people. I'm actually saying it right. I'm not saying Tupac, like the officer did in Las Vegas there. I mean, that made us all look bad. I'm actually saying it right. But anyways, he was on Sway in the Morning, which, speaking of Tupac, like one day we're going to find out what's in that hat. I mean, it could be Tupac Shakur. I mean, who knows? But anyways, he was on there telling a story. I think he told this before, but I mean, this is the best clip I can find on YouTube. Again, 20 years later, after watching reruns at lunchtime, it's beautiful to have this resource. Again, if anybody's holding an iPhone, I'm gonna explain to you what the encyclopedias are. But anyways, he was telling the whole story here on how he became friends with Tupac. And again, like I was saying, the whole star power thing. He would just write people letters, and once again, I'm gonna, what. I do a lot of the talking on this podcast, but again, I got such respect for Mr. Danza. I want him to tell the story. So here we go.
Tony Danza was good friends
Wow, we'll go
with Tupac Shakur.
No, easy.
Tony and Tupac.
No. Yeah, we didn't roll.
TNT. Now, how did the story go, man?
I was driving my car one day, and after seeing he's in jail. He's got 5 bullet holes in him. I remember seeing it, Big Thug Life. He was showing it and everything else. So I was like, I can't believe this guy's such a good actor. And I was listening to the radio and I heard "Dear Mama," this song. Now here's a guy who wrote that song in jail with 5 bullets. Something's wrong with the picture. So because I'm Tony Danza, I write people, and they write me back. So I wrote him a note. I wrote him a letter, and I said, dear Tupac, I was writing. What do I write? Dear Pac, dear Tu, whatever. So dear Tupac, I write. You don't know me. I'm Tony Danza, but I'm. I see you in the situation you're in, and then I heard the song. It's a little incongruous. I said, maybe I know you can't be in the business you're in. You can't be a goody two shoes, but maybe there's a way to you have such a big impact on the kids to have a positive impact. So he wrote me back. He wrote me back, and basically he didn't understand what I was trying to say. He said, "Thanks for understanding me." And I was like, "Wait a minute, no, let me write you again." So I wrote him another letter, and then he wrote back again. So we had like a little pen pal thing for half a minute, and then he got out, and then I didn't see him anymore. It's not like we would, like I said, we weren't hanging out. But one night I was at a premiere. I can't remember what movie it was. I had my kids with me, little girls, and my wife. And all of a sudden, I'm standing there. It was light. It was like a spotlight. It was really lit up, like red carpet and stuff. All of a sudden, it got dark. And he turned, and it was like the biggest bodyguard you ever seen. This guy, it's like blacked out
He
the
eclipsed
sun.
the moon,
right? And he said Tupac, was over there, and I just went over and I said hello, and we talked for a couple of minutes. It wasn't like we're best friends.
No,
it
man,
was just
go ahead and claim it, man.
no.
Claim it,
But
Tony.
he did put me in, in the movie Resurrection.
That's right.
He
huh?
talks about this.
That's right.
Yeah, it was weird. I mean, it's cool. My son one day says to me, Dad, he got was it triple X, XXL? Or
Yeah, double XL magazine.
Double XL magazine.
Jason Rodriguez.
So he said to me, hey Dad, you're the only white guy in this magazine. Look at that.
Well, man, that's okay. Tony, add that to your list of accomplishments.
It is a big
Okay, you was in
accomplishment.
double XL. Now, let me ask you this: the letters that he wrote back,
Yeah,
did you save them?
yeah.
We getting money, Tony. We are getting money. Did you frame them?
Yeah, I got, I have a lot of notes. I got notes from Arthur Miller,
Uh-huh.
Frank Sinatra. I write people. The president. You're right. You'd be surprised. You write notes, man. They write you back. I bet you, even if it's so rare to get a note. You get an email, but if you get a written note from somebody, you'd be surprised.
They'll write it. They'll
They
write
write
it
you
back.
back.
That is crazy. I mean, okay, first of all, I'm just going to say this. If I ever make it famous, whatever, I'm going to write everybody. I mean, obviously you can't do it now, or else you look like Son of Sam. But, I mean, that's pretty cool, man. I mean, he's right. In this digital age, everybody's writing on someone's, Twitter wall or whatever, or Instagram, all that shit. And, like no one actually writes a physical letter. I mean, obviously, this was like probably during the mid 90s, whatever. But still, I mean, that's really cool, man. That's pretty awesome. And, yeah, Sway's right, man. If he kept those letters, I mean, it sounds like he's got more than one. They got to be worth a couple bucks. I'm not saying you should sell them. I'm just saying that's pretty cool. Hopefully they're in a safe somewhere. Fuck, that's pretty cool, man. And he said it wrote a lot of people, including Frank Sinatra, which I'm going to get to in a little bit. How Tony Danza eventually hooked up with the late great Frank Sinatra, which again, guys, I'll talk about Frank Sinatra one day in the podcast. There's just so much to cover there, but again, you got to understand how big of a deal it is, for an Italian to actually meet the chairman of the board. But that was an awesome interview. Unfortunately, not all interviews go that well. I almost hate to do this to Tony. I think at this point I can call him Tony. He was on this one news thing, and he's just waiting to be interviewed, and they don't know I don't know. This was kind of sneaky. I mean, they didn't actually know, or like he didn't know that he was being recorded, and I just I'll let YouTube speak for itself.
Tony, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Not being on these things.
1, 2, 3, 4,
On
5.
those news shows so often, And those news shows are terrible.
Tony.
I'm telling you, I just realized it because I'm hearing the news show in the background. Now, you always think that you're doing those good morning shows, but this is one of those news shows. Yeah, well, I'm telling you, this is crazy. I don't want to do this.
Tony.
We're going to be part of the local news. How exciting.
Tony Danza. You never know when people are listening to what you're saying, Tony.
You know, right after murder and mayhem and the rescue in California, Tony Danza. I'm so excited.
Okay, Tony, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, we're going to start the interview now. No murder and mayhem, just the interview about your movie. You ready?
All right, fine. Oh, you heard me, huh?
Oh, every bit of it.
Oh, good.
Joining us now is Tony Danza. You know him from
Well, don't you
Taxi.
don't you feel a little bit like that's what you do? Not for
No.
nothing. It's not just me who thinks that, by the way. Go ahead. All right.
Well, you know, it's how I make my living, so.
No, listen, I'm
Boss
not
is
knocking
living
you.
it.
I'm just saying you can't, just don't deny it. Please. I don't think you should make a living. I think that's fine.
Okay, let's talk about.
Oh, boy, everybody heard me, huh?
Yes, Mr. Danza, we all heard you, and I gotta say, man, I'm in your corner, as always, of course. But yeah, I mean that was bullshit, man. They should have told him, you know, like he was being recorded. Although, but then again, we wouldn't have this beautiful clip for YouTube. I remember for a while, like as soon as you put in Tony Danza on YouTube, like that'd be the first thing that pops up. Okay, so if you don't know, ABC owns Disney. This was an interview he did for Disney. I find it funny that both him and the woman interviewing him both have the same haircut. But yeah, man, again, if you're gonna pull some sneaky shit like this, you know, just don't. You know, I mean, Tony Danza is a good dude, and but then again, you know, it worked out for me and this podcast. But again, you know, like Tony Danza is not perfect. You know what I mean? And if anything, there, like, you know, it's not like he swore or nothing or said anything offensive. I mean, he's just voicing his opinion, and it's true. I mean, they make people wait forever for these interviews, and you know, they get a little restless. And I can speak for experience. Being Italian, we tend to get a little impatient, you know, and you know, we're just waiting around, and you know, we don't mean any harm. We just you know, we want the shit to be done with already. You know, so I get it, man. I get it. Sometimes you have to go just for a nice little ride and say some random facts about Tony Danza. That's Bill Clinton on the saxophone. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's Bomb James doing the song. Such a nice little theme. Makes you relaxed and want to cry at the same time. Anyways, before he started on Taxi, he was a boxer and was still fighting professionally. We knew that already. But did you also know that Tony Danza was actually behind the wheel that drives across the bridge during the opening credits of every episode of Taxi? I didn't know that. It just came to me. In 1993, he broke his back by skiing in Utah and had plates, rods, and screws in his spine. He lost his house in the Northridge earthquake on January 17th, 1994. I'm just gonna let it keep playing, I don't care. He was named as King of Brooklyn at the Welcome Back to Brooklyn Festival. Even the ending credits is beautiful. Tony Danza even has an Italian-Canadian cousin named Daniel. What? What was that? I didn't plan that out properly. I'm sorry, guys. Anyways, he has an Italian-Canadian cousin named Daniel Giannotti. And you think that was random? Check this out. Almost always watches the television series 24 with Liza Minnelli. Again, keep in mind, guys, I'm getting these facts from IMDb. I love IMDb. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying this. You know what? I'm going to believe this. This sounds obtainable. Also, his first Hollywood girlfriend was Taxi co-star Mary Lou Henner. Lovely woman. And I'm not just saying that because she's half Greek. And that's what happens, guys. When you work with someone on a hit TV show, you either love them or hate them. Sometimes you go out with them. Sometimes you have to go to the hospital because your dick is broken. His acting mentor was Judd Hirsch, also one of his fellow actors on the TV show Taxi. Cool guy. A lot of people remember him as Jeff Goldblum's father in Independence Day. Remember for a while he had a show, like, what was it called? Dear John? I don't know. Like, the Dear John concept is when you go home and, I don't know, your wife officially leaves you for the pool boy, and then she leaves you a note on the mantle, you know, and saying, you know, this shit's not going to work out. I mean, this is way before ghosting, you know, like when you actually had to put in an effort to tell somebody to fuck off, you know. Dear John. That song was okay, but I think a lot of people at this point know Tony Danza for a little song that Elton John did called Hold Me Closer, Tony Danza.
The song is called Hold Me Closer, Tiny Dancer by Elton John, not Tony Danza.
Oh. Okay. Well, there goes that dream. But seriously, folks, if you honestly thought that, you're pretty stupid. Apparently, I didn't even know this until I started doing research for this podcast, that the original idea for that concept came from the show Friends, which for me, I guess, is even more embarrassing because I literally just did a podcast about Jennifer Aniston. So, but like I said in that, I know dick all about Friends, just a few episodes here and there. Chandler likes to smoke. They don't like him smoking. Just let the guy smoke, okay? I don't endorse smoking, but you know, if he wants to have a couple here and there, I mean, that's his business. Anyways,
That beat. Hold me close, young Tony Danza.
Yeah, that's how it originated. I don't know. In the 90s, I was too busy watching Married with Children and Frasier. But yeah, that's how it came about. And years later, Courtney Cox did a little thing with Elton John and Ed Sheeran. And yeah, they actually recorded the song that Phoebe sang on the show. So I usually don't care about playing other people's songs on here because I don't know the rules. And if you listen to enough of my podcast, you can tell I'm not that smart. So, but at the same time, Elton John would probably sue me. So you can check that out for yourself on YouTube. But yeah, that's pretty cool. She did that for her buddy. And even Tony Danza wrote on Instagram or Twitter. I still don't know the difference. First, the routine. Now this. You've made my day once again. I'm honored. A little praise from Tony Danza himself. Nice. And the clip I played before, that was Scott and Xander's Crazy Night. I was told it was done by Funny or Die. And yeah, I honestly wish they would make a whole movie of this. But no, it's just a little clip. And yeah, again, you know, showing that Tony Danza's got a pretty good sense of humor. For a man playing a housekeeper in the 80s, he better. Now, one clip I came across the beautiful world of YouTube is on the show Community, which was a great show. Now, if you never watched the series of Community, basically this is what happened. 3 seasons, awesome. The 4th season, uh-oh. The 5th season, and something about them going to Yahoo or I don't know. The point is, it was a great show while it lasted. But at one point, the character Abed had his own theory on who's the boss in Who's the Boss. Now, there was an actual person that showed up at the community school that they all went to, and he actually wrote a book.
Indeed, a critical analysis of television's Who's the Boss.
The professor of this class is the author of this book. We got him?
Cool. Cool. So, the professor is played by awesome actor Stephen Tobolowsky. I think I said that right. If you ever have a chance, look his name up and the famous Steven Seagal story. I'm not even going to get into it now. I think I already did on the Steven Seagal podcast. Again, that was only supposed to be a half hour. There was so much more shit about him. Turned into 3 times the amount. Even that car honking outside didn't believe it either. The point is, he does a great job trying to convince Ahmed that he actually knows who's the boss. Actually, he doesn't know who's the boss. I don't think so. Like many of us out there, we've always tried to figure out who is the actual boss in Who's the Boss. But Abed explains his theory.
And so, by all known definitions of the word boss, i.e., one with authority over another, in 9 of 11 known possible fields in which one might teach, employ, guide, oversee, and or otherwise hold dominion, the empirically provable answer to the question, who's the boss, is
Pendulum of power.
He's wrong. He's absolutely wrong. And I'm going to tell you why later. But for now, let's review every job, or pretty much every job that IMDb has got in or on their website about the great Tony Danza. Now, his very first role that he ever did is in a TV movie called Fast Lane Blues. And that was in 1978. And surprise, surprise, he played a character named Tony. An oil company headed by a man named Major sponsors an amateur cross-country car race for $1 million pot of gold. Apparently in the 70s, they had a lot more leprechauns than we did today. So yeah, people were able to, race for pots of gold. So that alone is worth seeing, right? Then he was in a TV series, showed up in one episode called Super Train. He played a character called Snelling. Tony Snelling. No, I was just combining both names there. Okay, then he was in a little movie called The Hollywood Knights. Now, I saw this movie about a year ago because, again, there's nothing else to do during COVID. This is one of these movies, obviously, like, every decade has that, set of, like, teen movies. They're not, like, the best teen movies. They're not, like, well-known, like The Breakfast Club or American Pie. But, they're, kind of cult classic movies, And they usually show up, late night on, whatever, cable box, you got the steal from your neighbor. And, it's a decent little movie. What does it say here? Led by their comedic leader, Turk, the Hollywood Knights Car Club raise hell throughout Beverly Hills on Halloween night, 1965. Gotta say, it's a good little movie. Nothing, too spectacular, but, obviously it's got Tony Danza in it. I believe this is probably the first thing, or one of the first things Michelle Pfeiffer probably did. It was way before Scarface. Mike Bender, Jerry Brucci, T.K. Carter, Joey Cannon, yeah, it's a good little movie. If you have a chance, see it. It's one of those movies, you come home from a late night of drinking with the buddies, you flipping the channels, and you're like, you need some, cheap comedy to get you through, the Doritos, and that's it. So, if you have a chance, check it out. Murder Can Hurt You. That's a TV movie he did. He played a character named Pony Lambretta. Again, these are cool names that, they picked for him. By the way, he played Duke in the Hollywood Knights. So, yeah, it's cool, man. A Capital Fourth as a TV series he did in 1980. Then in 1981, he did a movie called Going Ape. I mentioned it before. He plays a character named Foster. Shit, sorry. I've never seen this movie. It has a rating of 3.9 out of 10. Apparently nobody did. But the movie poster alone is maybe worth even checking this out. It's him and Danny DeVito, and it's just those two guys just holding two apes. There's one in the background there. He seems to be balding. When 80-year-old Max Sabatini dies, he leaves his 3 prize orangutans in the care of his only son, Foster, to inherit his father's $5 million fortune. This has got 80s written all over it. Foster must take care of his apes for the next 5 years. Yeah, I mean, the 80s. I guess you were, I don't know, either doing movies with apes or robots. Yeah, again, it doesn't have the best rating, but if you want to check it out, sure, go ahead, go for it. And obviously, during all this time, he's doing all these movies. But in 1978 to 1983, he was on the hit TV series called Taxi. And apparently he showed up in every single episode. I mean, he wasn't like a main character, but he was like one of the... I guess he was the main character. Like, it was an ensemble cast of the 6 people here. So James L. Brooks created it. If you don't know that name, you can always tell him by... he's the guy sitting on the humongous pile of money. Hell of a cast, man. I mean, you had Judd Hirsch, you had Jeff Conaway, Danny DeVito, Mary Lou Henner, Tony Danza, obviously, Christopher Lloyd, and Andy Kaufman. Obviously, we all know the story about Andy Kaufman. He basically just did Taxi just to have his own little 1-hour special. Tony Danza talks, about him a couple times, Obviously, no one really got along with him, because, he would be his other personality there, Tony Clifton. I loved him. I just as a side note, I could do a whole podcast about him, but basically, I just want to say this, a couple things about Andy Kaufman. One, I don't think he should have been thrown out of Saturday Night Live. I thought that was cold the way they did him there. I love Saturday Night Live, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, I just don't like the way they did it. They did the whole survey thing, with people, and, I don't know. But, and also, I do want to say this. A lot of people think Andy Kaufman did fake his death at the age of 35. I believe he got throat cancer. I'm just saying this. I'm not saying for sure he faked his death, but if he did do it, I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe he's dead at this point, 2021. Who knows? Maybe the irony is COVID got him. I don't know. But, I think the guy just wanted out of the business. I mean, he did get fucked over a lot. I mean, he did fuck with a lot of people at the same time, with the whole, all the antics and, the whole wrestling thing he did there. Like even Tony Danza said before, he helped ref a couple matches that he did. And, very interesting guy. I think he's very funny. I think he inspired a lot of people in the future. I mean, even the dude like Norm Macdonald, I love. I mean, like even Dennis Miller said at one point, you got a little Andy Kaufman in you. And, I truly believe every good actor has a little Andy Kaufman in him, and at the same time, you still got to like fuck with your audience at some point and, but learn to be serious and all that. But I loved Andy Kaufman. My dad didn't. I don't know. Like at one point we were just talking, and I don't know. My dad's, I never liked that Eddie Kaufman. And I don't know. My dad's he's a good guy, but weird at the same time. The point is, Tony Danza was great in this. It's a great launching pad for him. Huge show. Although it only lasted 5 seasons, the ratings went down very quick. I remember being more like a side character, not like really one of the main guys. I mean, like I said, it was an ensemble cast, but I mean, obviously later on with Who's the Boss, he, got a shot to being, the big thing there. I saw a couple episodes of this. I thought the show was okay. I mean, I thought some episodes were funnier than others. The main one I remember is that everybody was getting high off, these cocaine cookies that they brought in. Again, it was the 80s, so you had to do some kind of cocaine joke. My favorite character in this was by far Danny DeVito. I thought he was, you couldn't have picked a better guy to be in charge of all that shit. And I thought it was a pretty good show. I liked it. And, he stayed friends with all the people, afterwards. And later on, you do get to see a lot of these people in Who's the Boss. So, there you go. Are you going to say no to a primetime show for 5 years? I don't think so. So this is a great launching pad for him, and yeah, he built up a good rep after this. Then he was on the Love Boat TV series. We all know this show, the Love Boat. Another run. I'm a better singer than I think. Yeah, so he's on was a couple episodes of this. I mean, who wasn't in the 80s? Likely Stories Volume 4 was a TV movie he did. Jersey Cop #1. Again, just keeping it Italian. Again, and I forgot to mention again, in Love Boat, Bud O'Hara. I don't know who's picking these names for him, but it's cool. I like it. Don't Ask Me, Ask God. That's a TV special he did. He played an Italian soldier. Obviously. Cannonball Run 2. Cannonball Run 1 was good. Cannonball Run 2 was good. They renamed the third one Danger Zone or some shit there. We all know the third one. We all know what the real name was. He was in this one. He played a guy named Terry. I mean, the name Terry ends with a Y in this one. You know, it's not really Italian. But the point is, I enjoy these movies. Burt Reynolds, we miss you, man. Rest in peace. And yeah, very, very funny movies. Great cast of people as well. Single Bars, Single Women, as a TV movie he did. He played Dennis. Doing Life, as a TV movie he did. Freedom Fighter, TV movie. She's Out of Control. Played a character named Doug Simpson. 5.4 out of 10. I mean, I was better than 3.9, I guess. Catherine Hicks, Wallace Shawn. I'm not familiar with these people. When an average-looking teenage girl gets a makeover, it's enough to make her father become overprotected of her. Okay, so, all right, it's kind of got that whole 10 Things I Hate About You kind of vibe, I guess, you know, just more 80s style, you know, that's, you know, hey, it's the 80s, man. I mean, it's the 80s. Living Dolls, a TV series. Whereabouts of Jenny, TV movie. Dead and Alive, The Race for Gus Fares, TV movie, cool. MC Hammer, Too Legit to Quit. Wow. He actually played himself in the. I don't remember. Wow, really? Okay. Yeah. No, he was in the video. Okay, I did not know that. Apparently, I heard this video cost like $4 million to make. Apparently, and we're talking like in 1991. So, yeah, that's wow. I don't remember. I remember. I mean, you guys remember the song, don't you? You know, too legit to quit. You know. Remember MC Hammer had that cartoon? That dude was everywhere. The Taco Bell commercials and holy shit, that was he blew through that money. That's fucking, I don't know how that happens, man. But anyways, yeah, he was in that video, and there you go. I'm sure. Maybe he was tap dancing, you know, MC Hammer with the genie pants, whatever, you know. So there you go, man. ABC TGIF TV series. He played Mickey Campbell. Yeah, he was in a couple episodes of there. And yes, and of course, between 1984 and 1992, he played Tony Maselli in Who's the Boss? Now, I was lucky enough to find the first couple seasons online, and I gotta say, I mean, the show still holds up for what it is. You know, it's very 80s, you know, it's got that, you know, that whole theme of, you know, those shows back then where, you know, there's a problem for the first 20 minutes, we solve it in the last minute, and then the last minute we play the credits, you know. It's got that feel, but it was a really good show. So basically the whole point of the show was that Tony Danza's character, Tony Maselli, you know, he was an ex-baseball player. He got injured, and he wanted a better life for his daughter, Samantha, played by the great and very beautiful Alyssa Milano. And he's like, okay, you know what? We're just gonna pack up our shit in the blue van here. We're gonna say goodbye to Mrs. Rossetti via window style, which is how apparently people talked in Brooklyn years ago. I mean, this is according to Family Guy. And Mrs. Rossetti was played by Rhonda Gimignani. I think I said that right. And yeah, there you see it in the opening credits there. I sang it beautifully earlier. They're just driving down the road, and then they end up in Connecticut. Now, I was lucky enough to actually go to Connecticut a couple years ago. I went during a whole Greek Easter thing. It was one of those years where, I don't know, Greek Easter, it's supposed to be in the beginning of April, and I don't know, we fucked up the calendar again, and it ends up in May. I don't know, for some reason. But anyways, it's a very nice place. It's very, you gotta have a little money to move out there. Let's just say that. I mean, the houses are huge. I mean, they're like the houses in Home Alone there. I don't know. You think, 34 people live there, and, a couple in the basement, doing whatever. And, it's a very nice area. Very, very nice. If you grew up in Toronto, it's kind of like the Lee Side area, lots of trees, and it looks nice. That's all. And he's like, all right, let's go there. I'm going to become a housekeeper, because again, in the 80s, you could just make up whatever profession you want, and it'll be funny. Oh, okay, a guy's a housekeeper. We get it, But the show was really good, and he knocks on the door there, as most normal people do. Talks to Angela, played by Judith Light, and she has a son named Jonathan. And he's played by Danny Pintoro. I think I said that right. And he just kind of takes over the household a little bit. He just every day he's cooking and cleaning, and like I said before, he does the whole vacuum on the curtains thing, which is a classic scene. Really good show. I gotta say, I just it's something about it. I don't know. I can't explain. Maybe it's an Italian thing. I don't know. It was cheesy at times. I'll give you that. And you watch it sometimes and you're like, oh, this would never happen. That's bullshit. Okay, let's just be honest. In today's world, we gotta take care of our own. We gotta make sure that our family's good, and sometimes we gotta help other families at the same time. And that was the genuine niceness of this show. But it was funny too, because how do I put this? Look, in real life, it would not take like 6, 7 seasons for an Italian male to live with a beautiful blonde and for them to eventually have sex. It just wouldn't take that long. I'm sorry, guys. I mean, like in real life, worst case, 45, 60 minutes, like that's it. So, but again, it's a wholesome family show. We get it. We got to stretch out the shit for a little bit, but something actually realistic did happen in the episode number 2 there. Tony does see Angela naked in the shower. And apparently, from what I heard, Judith Light, when she disrobed or just took off the towel, like any Italian male, Tony said, "Holy smokes." And she was actually naked, because she wanted to get the real reaction. And I got to say, God bless her. That's acting 101, you know what I mean? So, that's... that's great, man. He did see her, naked sooner than he thought. And they did say, like, when they had the casting call for that, or casting auditions, whatever, there's a couple things online you can see. And when they, Tony and Judith, did their thing together, there was such a good chemistry. I mean, you could tell just by watching it, like, it was meant to happen with these two. It was just, like some things you just know. Like the dude who played Dwight on The Office, like you ever see his audition tape? I mean, it's pretty obvious, okay, that's going to be Dwight. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just know. So, and also I got to give a shout out to Catherine Helmond, who played Mona Robinson. She passed away a few years ago. Rest in peace to her. She was perfect as the mother. honestly, everybody was perfectly cast for this show. I mean, when I first started watching this show in whatever the late '80s, I just thought it was a nice little show. I didn't catch every single episode. You're younger, you catch whatever's on TV. It's not like today where you just watch everything and binge watch, everything in like a couple days, and you have to wait a week to see, one show, and then you got to wait a whole another week to see another show. I know it's a crazy concept. I don't know how we survived, but yeah, it was a really nice show, and they all just did their part. I mean, they all did a great job together. I mean, Tony and Angela together. I mean, it was just really, obviously you could feel the sexual tension. It was there, it was blatantly obvious, and then, at some point, in the first season, they eventually kissed. It took 22 episodes, but they were flinging around flour, and if you just tuned in at that point, it looked like they were just having a good night of, doing cocaine and just making out in the kitchen. But they realized, hey, you know what, we can't do this, and I mean, the show hasn't hit HBO yet, so you can't show anything. But but again, it's a wholesome '80s show, very nice. Like I said, I would love to review more episodes in depth, but I only saw the first 2 seasons. And again, I've seen them all. I do remember something at one point they added a kid or something to the thing. I mean, they did what Married with Children did, and I don't know, for some reason that was just a whole theme for a while. Like even The Simpsons made fun of it. At one point, just like adding a character to the show, and then they disappear after an episode. I don't know, like it was a theme for a while in the 80s and 90s to do that. I don't know why, but I mentioned before, even Family Guy made fun of the whole episode of seeing, I don't know, Peter won a contest about coming up with the best theme for a parade. The episode of Who's the Boss, where Tony sees Angela naked in the shower. But I mean, technically she was just coming out of the tub, but again, guys, I'm nitpicking, and then at one point they made a joke about Tony bathing Jonathan in the tub. Well, that's just plain wrong. But good luck saying that joke today. Anyways, but yeah, Betty White showed up for an episode, and I don't know, she was a real bitch in that episode. Not that she's like that in real life. She's a sweetheart. She's going to be 100 very, very soon. And again, she's 1/5 Greek, so. Again, you got to respect that. And, like I said, Tony brought his buddies from, Taxi on there as well. And it was a great show. I loved it. I don't know, maybe it's one of those generation things, but I thought it was a really good show. The classic, before you handshake somebody, you got to spit in there and, make it official. And, just little things like that. I thought it was good. And then... Like I said before, my dad said he went back to school, and I forgot about that, but then I remembered again, and because my memory's going, I'll be 40 soon. And what was I saying? Oh yeah, and then the way they ended the show, I thought was really nice. Well, fuck it, I'm not gonna give it away. You gotta check it out for yourself. Jesus Christ, I can't do everything for you guys. But yeah, I mean, it was a very good show. I gotta say that. There's also one more thing I have to say. I was talking about before how, the concept of who's the boss. Who is the boss on the TV show Who's the Boss? And I will absolutely tell you the right answer to who's the boss on the TV show Who's the Boss. And the answer is... Mona Robinson. Now, let me explain this. Take it from a guy who watches a lot of TV, dissects a lot of TV. I was bored one Sunday, and I believe I went through an entire season of Stranger Things. Why? Because there's nothing else to do, especially on Sundays when you don't work. Now, I don't know why I threw that in there. Fuck it. The point is, Mona was the boss of the 5 characters, including herself. And I'll tell you why. Mona had a lot to do with Tony Danza, aka Tony Maselli, coming into the world of Connecticut, of being the housekeeper. Okay? Now, obviously, Angela Bauer, aka Judith Light, was a little hesitant on hiring Tony. I mean, is this going to work? I was expecting you to be a woman. That's, you got to keep in mind, guys, this was the 80s. People were way more sexist, than they were today. Or at least more open about it. And you got to keep in mind, it would have been awkward. I mean, think about it. She's a single woman, or separated or whatever. I don't know. The husband keeps coming in and out, and then he wants Jonathan to live. It's a whole fucking thing they did there. Anyways, it's weird. You got a woman, you got her mother living there, the son, and now all of a sudden you got a guy that wants to move in, be a housekeeper, do all the cooking, and then also, bringing her daughter in there, So she's really hesitant about it. And then Mona's like, I have a good feeling about him. I want him to help you. Now, this is where the European mentality comes into play here. Now, Bauer, Robinson, this is, I think, judging by the hair, I think they're more Irish or whatever. I don't know. Something's going on there. Jonathan, I know he's Italian in real life. I don't know. Maybe something happened with the mailman at one point. The point is that the classic European mentality of having your daughter or son marry somebody in the future just so they could be happy, just so they could even have bragging rights and saying, hey, I'm the one that set you up with your future husband or wife. That's all Mona was trying to do. So Mona's big plan overall, she knew that this show was going to last 8 seasons. She knew that deep down that she was setting up her daughter with Tony. She had this planned all along. She was setting up the perfect family. And think about it. And let's just really be honest here. Mona was a horny motherfucker. I mean, and again, they did that a lot in the 80s, 90s. They made, a lot of the older people on the cast, the comic reliefs, sometimes they would just shoot out, one line here and there. It's like Jeffrey on The Fresh Prince, Jeffrey, go fetch me my tools. You mean your knife and fork, that's it. Just simple lines, you get a quick paycheck. That's it, so, but Catherine Hellman did some work before this. She was on the TV show Soap, which was on for 4 seasons. She did a couple movies, which, by the way, I saw the movie Brazil, which, holy shit, that movie is a fucking trip and a half. If you've never seen Brazil, you have to see this movie. And of course, it's done by this person who, I don't know if you've heard of this TV show called Breaking Bad. He created that show, Terry Gilliam, who I will always love. Because first of all, he created a great show, Breaking Bad. And 2, he did say, without Tony Soprano, there would be no Walter White. Okay, so even he admits that. So, but we're going to get into that in another podcast, but whatever. The point is, see that movie. It is a fucking trip and a half. So, she has the experience, both off and on TV. Okay? She knew exactly what she was doing. And keep in mind, too, she could have, easily had sex with Tony. Easily. As a half Italian, we are, and on top of that, I'm half Greek. So I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm horny all the time. It's gonna happen. I mean, I don't know. Hopefully, in my 60s, I can finally just calm down and just eat lasagna all day and just eventually just mold my ass into my couch, and I'll finally get a rest. But she could have easily had her way with Tony. And even in the beginning of the season 1 there, she, secretly was going out with a much younger guy. So Mona had no problems in getting men. Okay? So she could have easily had sex with Tony, totally ruined the whole thing, and then boom, that's it. They could have got another housekeeper, that's it. But she knew the long-term plan, and she set this up perfectly with Angela Bauer, aka her daughter, and she knew exactly what the fuck she was doing. So, out of the 5 people, okay, once again, no disrespect to Community, no disrespect to Ahmed. Troy and Ahmed in the morning. I'm telling you, the first 3 seasons are excellent. After that, look, the point is, you know, she could have even moved out. Like at one point, she moved out of the house, and then she like kind of was in the back, living on top of the garage or some shit. You know, just living the player life, whatever. But she didn't. She stayed there because she wanted to keep an eye on her daughter and make sure this experiment, you know, cute blonde meets Italian boxer go together, and she just had to know what. Look, the point is, the person who is in charge of all the people, the 5 main people of the show, and the person who saw this whole thing coming, was indeed Mona Robinson. And forever, she will be the boss in the hit TV series, Who's the Boss? Moving on. Then Tony was in a show called Baby Talk that only lasted a year. What the fuck is this? This half-hour situation comedy featured the adventures of baby Mickey, being raised by Maggie, a single mother starting her life over in the city. Is that Scott Baio? Is that George Clooney feeding a baby? I believe it is. Okay. Yeah, I've never heard of the show. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they're doing like a Look Who's Talking kind of thing with the babies. I don't know. Anyways, then he did The Mighty Jungle, the TV series. Then also in 1994, he did a little movie called Angels in the Outfield. Now, obviously, this movie is a remake of the original. When a boy prays for a chance to have a family, if the California Angels win the pennant, angels are assigned to make that possible. All right, so you got Danny Glover. Brenda Fricker, if you don't know who she is, she was the homeless woman with the birds in Home Alone 2. Christopher Lloyd, playing Al the Boss Angel. Al, oh yeah, American League, yeah, the whole, yeah, I got it. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who I think is one of the first things I ever saw him in. Taylor Negron, Neil McDonough, Adrian he was in this? Adrian Brody, really? Matthew McConaughey, fuck off, he was in this too? Dermot Mulroney, he was in this too? Shit. See, I haven't seen this movie since it came out. It came out when? Like 94, like I said. Yeah, there you go. See, told you, memory loss. But yeah, this is a good little movie, you know? Good little family movie, you know? Yeah. You know what? I gave it a 6.2 out of 10. I get it, you know? It's a little cheesy, again, movie, I get it. You know, it's Walt Disney shit, you know, classic. I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. I don't know why. For some reason, I always remember, I thought Dennis Leary played his father. But it was Dermot Mulroney. Yeah. Huh. Why do I remember Dennis Leary in this? I don't know. No. Okay. Well, either way, it's a good movie. I would check it out. Nothing, you know, nothing, you know, out of the park, you know, pardon the pun. But it's a cute little movie. It's something, for the, something for the family. I liked it. I thought it was good, I like The Sandlot better. That's just me, but, it's still a good little movie. It's cool. Then he was in a movie called Deadly Whispers. It was a TV movie. Then he was in a show called Hudson Street, where he played Tony Cantelli. He's teamed up with Lori Loughlin, which, if you follow her the last couple of years, she's got her own thing going there. But anyways, it didn't last long. Illtown, 1996. Meet Wally Sparks. Okay. So, I love Ronnie Dangerfield. Okay, one day I'm going to do a podcast about him. It's definitely in my top 5 comedians of all time. I remember when I first saw this movie. I saw it again recently. I totally forgot he played a New York cab driver, which obviously, we get it. It's a whole thing and making fun of Taxi and all that. He was just in there for a few minutes, Tony Danza. But hey, you know what? You got a chance to do a scene one-on-one with Rodney Dangerfield. You say yes. So you got Caddyshack, you got Meet Wally Sparks, you got Easy Money, and Back to School. So I just gave you 4 of the best Rodney Dangerfield movies of all time. If you got a chance, check them out. But also check this movie out. It's a pretty funny one as well. Then he did a TV movie, North Shore Fish. The Girl Gets Mo. What the fuck is this? Girl Gets Mo. Oh, wow. Oh, look at this one. Oh, look at the movie poster here. Okay, so you got Tony Danza. For the first time I've ever seen him hold a gun. In the back, you got Michael Madsen, so shit's going down. Importing illegal automatic weapons for resale is a big business, and Mo is the middleman. Even with the huge monetary rewards available, he finds that his love life suffering, and he is looking for that special someone. When he finds her, he wants to become a respectable and marry. But it seems that business and a double date conspire to end this romantic relationship once and for all. Ladies and gentlemen, I've never heard of this movie. It only has a 4.9 out of 10. Him teaming up with Madsen, who you all know, who played Mr. Yellow in Reservoir Dogs. He should have been in Pulp Fiction. That's a whole different story right there. But that's I want to see this movie. I don't give a shit what rating this has. How did that lipstick end up on the gun? But anyways, I definitely want to check that one out. Okay, 12 Angry Men is a TV movie, obviously based on the hit movie there. And he was in a movie called Glam. I don't know what this is. 2.6 out of 10. Hey, look, they all can't be winners. A Brooklyn State of Mind, which is what Tony always has, I guess. Danny Aiello, nice. Rest in peace to him. If you don't know who that is, he was in my favorite movie of all time, The Godfather Part 2. That's right. I think Godfather 2 is better than Part 1 overall. I said it. I stand by it. I will talk about it. Not now. Later. And also Do the Right Thing. Michael Corleone says hello. He actually improv that line in that movie. I didn't know that till years later, but I've never heard of this movie. Didn't get the best rating, but I don't know. You never know. Sometimes you find hidden gems, so this could be one of them. The Wonderful World of Disney. Said this before and I'll say it again. If Disney knocks at your door, you answer. The Tony Danza Show. He played Tony Di Mio. I mean, I don't really remember the show. I mean, I remember like he had a couple shows after this. This one, okay, so he's got it's him. It's Sean Wise, who obviously most people know him as Goldberg, the goalie in the Mighty Ducks. Carl Malone was in one episode. Jose Canseco was in this episode. Maybe not the same one. I don't know. Maybe a different one, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I don't really remember this. Yeah, he played a sports writer, father of two daughters. You know, it only lasted one season. You know, guys, I'll just be honest with you. It's hard to do a hit show and then do another hit show. I mean, you know, most actors are blessed just to get one. You know, hey, it happens. What are you gonna do? You know. Then he was in The Practice TV show, a little bit there. Another TV series, Homewood PI. Then he was in another TV show, Betty. I think Bete, maybe it's French. I don't know. He played himself in that one. Family Law is a TV series he did. I think I actually remember this one. Yeah, like didn't he play Oh no, he was part of a law firm in this one. Okay. I remember there was one show where he played a cop or something for a while. I don't know. I thought it was this one. Yeah, it was him and Christopher McDonald. If you don't know who that is, he played McGavin, the bad guy in Happy Gilmore. He's awesome. Stealing Christmas, TV movie. He was in the movie Crash, which he was in this, really? I forgot. Wow, shit. Everybody was shocked when it won Best Picture. Remember that clip? I mean, they showed everybody in the audience there, and people were like, "Fuck, we won, really?" Okay. It's just, I don't know. The Oscars are weird, man. How can I tell you? Good movie though, definitely a good movie. But yeah, The Whisper. I don't remember seeing this one. 7.4 to 10. Oh shit, that's not bad. How come I've never heard of this? It doesn't have a synopsis of, I don't know what the show or movie is. Okay, and you look at the poster, he might be a ghost. I don't know. Okay. He was in an episode of All My Children. Yeah, you know, why not? Cloud 9, he played himself. Burt Reynolds playing volleyball, I guess. I don't know. All right. Rita Rocks TV series. Then he was in a movie called The Nail, the story of Joey Nardone. Don't know this one. Here we go. Okay, so from 2009, 2013, a little quiet for Tony Danza. That's cool. But he absolutely came back with this one in Don John. Now, obviously, I mentioned before, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Very good actor. He's done some really good movies over the years. One really good movie he did years ago called The Lookout. I highly recommend that one. The Walk. He's just done a bunch of good movies. I'll do a podcast about him one day. But Don John, I believed, was written by Gordon-Levitt. Yep, he was written by him, directed by him, and even stars in the movie. You got Scarlett Johansson in this movie. You got Julianne Moore to be in this movie. Brie Larson, which I believe only says maybe like 5 words in this movie, as his sister. But this is a really good movie. So it's about a guy who's, I don't know, he's from Jersey, and he loves his family, he loves his friends, he loves church, and of course he has an addiction to porn. Like all guys do at some point of our lives. Not me though, I'm special. But so eventually, he starts going out with Scarlett Johansson. So, you know, and then at one point he ends up going out with Julie and Moore. And I mean, you know, I mean, I already gave one standing ovation today, so I don't know how many more I'm gonna have to give out, but yeah, he deserves that one as well. This is a really funny movie, kind of a, I don't know, kind of a dark comedy, I guess, you know. So, but it's a very good movie, and Tony Danza plays his father in it. So picture what Tony Danza did in Who's the Boss, and now picture the complete opposite. I mean, he plays like just a complete asshole Gavone father, and you know they're always going back and forth, and you know he's representing the Guinea tea to its finest, and he's just fucking hilarious in this one. It was such good casting by Gordon Levitt. I gotta give him props on that one. You know, I mean, I'm sure they stayed friends since Angels in the Outfield, and he's like, hey, you know what? Play my father. Why not? There's even a funny scene with him and Scarlett Johansson. I think, I mean, wasn't it an accident that he accidentally kissed her? I don't know. Either way, everybody's having a good time in this movie, it looks like, and it's a really good movie. I remember seeing this movie in theaters, and keep in mind, the budget for this movie was only $3 million. So this is all out of, I think, Gordon Levitt's pocket, I think, and worldwide gross was $39.4 million. So, I mean, you tell me that's not a hit. You know what I mean? So, will they make a Don John 2? I don't know. It could happen, you know? It's got that good vibration. The point is, definitely check out this movie. Everybody's great in it. Tony Danza hits it out of the park, for sure. Then he was in a movie called Aftermath. I've never heard of this one. Anthony Michael Hall, Chris Penn, rest in peace there, for sure. Really, really funny. Obviously, brother of Sean Penn, really cool dude. Frank Wiley, I don't know. I've never seen this movie. Don't know. Didn't get the best rating, but you know, it's okay. It's okay. Don John, man, I'm telling you, check it out. Broad City, funny show. He showed up on one episode of that. Sebastian Says, TV movie he did. Then a TV series called There's Johnny. Never heard of the show, but young Andy becomes a gopher at The Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson, Kira, 1972. Should I go into this or no? I'm just gonna say this. I'm not a big fan of Johnny Carson. I get it. He gave a lot of people their start, whatever. But I don't know. I never liked the way he treated Joan Rivers. Yeah, I don't know. I was never really a big fan of his. I gotta be honest. I mean, I get it. A lot of people liked him, found him funny, whatever. But I don't know. All I'll say is this. Like, I mean, would you ever see today, in today's world, somebody host a late night show and then somebody being a comic and that person like waving them, you know, with their hand to come to the couch? Now, I know that was a big deal back in the day, but imagine a male host doing that to a female comic. Like, first of all, even if she didn't make it, or he didn't feel that she was that funny, you know, so not allowing her to stay on the couch, which trust me, that would start some shit right there. But on top of that, kind of like, you know, like waving, oh, come here, you know, like is that shit really gonna fly? You know what I mean? Like, so I mean, but even back then, man, I don't know, I just didn't. No, I didn't like it. I didn't like it, honestly. You know, I know it was a different time back then, but I don't know, man. You know, I know this has nothing to do with Tony Danza, and the opinions expressed in this program do represent me and not Tony Danza. But I'm just saying, I just want to put that out there. Where am I? There we go. The Good Cop. Okay. Unfortunately, this did get canceled, but I still recommend you watch this. It was on Netflix. It's a show he did with him and Josh Groban. I don't know a lot about Josh Groban. I know he's like kind of a singer, and I saw him do this thing on, I think it was like the Emmys or something, where he sang all these different theme songs, whatever. But it's a good little show. I liked it. It's a shame it didn't last, a little bit. They left it on kind of a cliffhanger there, but I thought it was pretty good. I liked it. A disgraced former NYPD officer lives with his son and earnest, obsessively honest NYPD detective. So it's good versus bad. The next generation takes over. So it's basically the old school cop meets the millennial cop, So I thought it was a good contrast, man. I liked it. But, it's on Netflix. I mean, God only knows how many shows that get pitched every year. And, some of them make them, some of them don't. So it is what it is. But I would still check it out. And then 2020, he came, he was on a show here, Outmatched, his TV series. And he's got something coming out in 2022, which, a lot of actors got to wait, because of COVID, obviously. He's playing voice in the movie Rumble. This is, wow, okay, this is, what the fuck is this? No, so I'm just looking at the trailer here. It's got a shark meets kind of an octopus or some shit. I don't know what this. Oh, this is crazy. In a world where monster wrestling is a global sport and monsters are superstar athletes, teenage Winnie seeks to follow in her father's footsteps by coaching a lovable underdog monster into a champion. And you got here Will Arnett, Terry Crews, Ben Schwartz, Jimmy Tatro, Fred Melland, Rebecca Quinn, Gerardine Viswanathan. I hope I said that right. Michael Buffer, of course. You got, because come on, you gotta have him announce the shit. I mean, I thought it was funny recently. You saw the whole Locks and Dipset battle. I love how just Jim Jones just walked right by him as he was talking, smoking a blunt. But Michael kept his composure. It's all good. Charles Barkley, Stephen A. Smith. Okay, so this looks like they're putting some money into this one. Okay, so most cartoons, they do probably well. Obviously. It's coming out in 3D as well in January. I mean, guys, again, who knows what's going to happen with COVID? I mean, people are still going to movies now. I mean, if you feel brave, go for it. I don't know what to tell you, but yeah. But in the meantime, he's still keeping himself busy, which is nice. He's an older guy. I mean, he's still in shape, but he's still, he's still older, man. He's still got to, take it easy. Take good care of himself. And yeah, like I said before, or if I didn't, I'm going to say it now. He is into philanthropy. And for people who don't know what that is, including myself, here's the definition: the desire to promote the welfare of others, expressed especially by the generous donation of money to good causes. So there you go. Tony Danza is nice all the time, man. Jesus. I mean, what a nice guy, honestly. I mean, can you really say anything bad about Tony Danza? No, of course not. Would I want Who's the Boss to come back on the air and, kick ass again? Sure. Oh, it is? Oh, good. Yeah, okay. Well, it says here, according to CNN Entertainment, they announced it just last year. And what does it say here? It says here, billed as a sequel to the original, the show will take place 30 years after the events of the original series, centered around former Major League Baseball player, retired housekeeper Tony Maselli, and his relationship with his daughter, Samantha Maselli. Someone said, I'm assuming Tony said this, she is now a single mother, living in the house the original series was set in. Okay, so I don't know. Listen, like I said, guys, Connecticut can get pretty pricey. So either he's, done an extreme amount of cleaning, or I don't know, someone had to go. I don't know. We'll find out. But in line with Norman Lear's classic shows, which, by the way, look up, all the shit that he's done. Him and James L. Brooks are having money fights. The new comedy will explore generational differences, as well as opposing world views and parenting styles within the dynamic of the modern family in 2020. Well, or in 2021 or 2022, who knows when the show's going to be officially done. But, you know, we've waited since early 90s. What's a couple more years and a mask. The publication also reported that Light and Danny Pintaro, who played her son Jonathan, are supportive of the new series. So, I don't know, does that mean that they're going to pop in there, maybe do, you know, a couple episodes, maybe they'll have a backstory? Did Tony win the house in a divorce? I don't know, we'll find out. And Catherine Hellman, who played Mona Robinson, like I said before, she died a couple of years ago of complications from Alzheimer's. She was 89. So, again, God bless her. She was great in the show. Everybody was great in the show. So, again, I'm looking forward to this. Obviously, if you can't tell by now, I'm a fan. Again, you know, you gotta get with it, man. And yeah, like I said, I mean, Tony Danza has had a hell of a career, and it's still going. You know, the guy is 70 years old, 70, and again, he looks like he can beat the shit out of all of us. It's gonna happen. He's gonna live a long, happy life. You know, he's gonna be another Jack LaLanne. You know, God bless him, honestly. And there's a couple quotes I found. You know what Tony Danza said, and I'm not going to list all of them because I'm starting to get dry mouth here. But in all seriousness, one quote I found here I thought was pretty cool, and I think it matches well with, you know, his mentality and you know, his age and everything that he's gone through. He said, "Don't try too hard to be young. Be who you are." And that's it. You know, I mean, Tony Danza's never really claimed to, you know, live a like a rock star life or anything, you know, although by the story I told before about his dick there, I mean, that's, I mean, again, guys, it was the 80s, but yeah, you know, he's just being himself. Like, it's just who he is. You know, he voices his opinion. You know, he's a nice guy about it. He's conquered pretty much everything in the business. I mean, he even did the album there. He sings. He fucking, like, what old Italian man doesn't sing, you know? And again, like I said before, you know, with the whole Frank Sinatra thing, he was able to do something for one of his concerts in '95, or some kind of benefit Frank Sinatra had. And I believe Frank Sinatra was, I think that was the last thing he ever did on television, which was an episode of Who's the Boss, or one of the last things he did. And that's a huge honor as an Italian. Like, it really is. It is an extremely big deal to, you know, have him on there. And, you know, that's how much, you know, Frank Sinatra loved Tony Danza. You know, it's not easy to pull that off. So, again, you know, I can't say enough nice things about Tony. Good guy. You know, I'm very curious to see how they're going to do the new series. How's it going to shape up to today's standards, you know? It's going to be weird, like seeing, like, Tony Danza, like, vacuum the drapes, but at the same time, he's, you know, texting. So, I don't know. Let's just see what happens. But, again, Mr. Danza, I wish you all the best. Thank you very much for providing me entertainment during all those years at lunchtime. And again, Don John, you kicked ass, man. I'm glad you played a role where you were like the complete opposite. You know, it's good to see, you know, you showed off your skills to people out there. And, you know, you can be this nice guy and then act like an asshole at the same time, you know, because a lot of Italians, we get branded for being assholes. And a lot of us are, but, you know, a lot of us are just, you know, we're just trying to be ourselves. We're just trying to be the best people we can be, you know? And in the end, a lot of us are just very nice people. And a lot of us are very nice people. like Tony Danza.